Hi guys, and welcome to my channel, Changing Phases Tarot. I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Now today's video is a special video. I've done one other of these when I got the new Akashic Tarot deck. And although this deck here, the CRYSALIS Tarot, it's not it's not a new release like the Akashic Tarot. It had just been released, which is why I got it. But I've been wanting to get this deck for quite a while, and it just arrived yesterday. So I decided to do sort of just an overview of what the deck is like for those of you who might be interested. Maybe you've seen it, on the internet, on different places, and have thought about getting the deck as well. So I wanted to just give you my impressions of the deck, and also to show you a few of the cards because I will probably be using it in the daily readings for the upcoming week. So the CRYSALIS Tarot, it's written by Tony Brooks, paintings by Holly Sierra. Okay, it's put out by US Games Systems. And the way that, it's a different deck. The suits, they're not the traditional suits. Instead of presenting them as pentacles, cups, wands, and swords, they're presented as stones for the pentacles, right? This is the Ace of Stones. Spirals, which would be the wands, right? The suit of wands, so fire energy. And this is the Ace of Spirals. Scrolls, which would be swords in the traditional tarot, and this is the Ace of Scrolls. And mirrors, which would be the suit of cups, water energy. And this is the Ace of Mirrors. Okay, on the back, let me show you the back. I think is absolutely beautiful. We have the butterflies, which we know, obviously they speak of rebirth, regeneration, change, metamorphosis. And there's some beautiful colors here, just very rich blue, dark reds. It's really gorgeous back of the card. Okay, now the major arcana, they're also quite different. So let me I know a lot of people enjoy, seeing the major arcana cards. Let me go through the major arcanas with you. We have the Fool in this deck. The 0 card is Merlin, the hero. I'll just go putting them down here. I'm going through them. The Magician is the Raven. Right, and in this deck, it has to do with synchronicities and messages. The High Priestess is the Sorceress, very beautiful. And she is all about, obviously magic and mysticism. I love this card. The Empress in this deck is Gaia. Okay, so Mother Earth, look how beautiful she is. Right, and so Gaia has to do with obviously abundance and earth, and we have all of the beautiful flowers and butterflies and all the elements of the earth sort of represented here on this card. Gorgeous. Now the artwork in this deck is just beautiful. It's very, I feel that it's very earthy, and I really, even though I just got it, I really sort of connected with the deck, and the cards as well. The cards are they're sort of a nice size. The quality of the cardstock is very good. They're not too slippery. They're sturdier than a lot of cards, so very nice quality for the deck. The Emperor is the Green Man, which is an interesting interpretation, right, of the Emperor, because yes, he represents structure, but in this deck he also has to do with nurturing, right? Structure, nurturing, obviously is the father figure, but slightly different interpretation of that. The Divine Child is the Hierophant, and has to do with self-discovery. Also, again, this, the message of sort of transformation. We have the butterfly is very much present as well, right? Transformation, renewal, rebirth. The Lovers card, we have the Lovers. Let me see them at the center of the card. So pretty traditional, sort of typical lovers, right? Although there are more more elements on the card here. Obviously, we have it does speak of unity, of oneness, and we have all of this sort of this unity of life and nature. We have all the beautiful nature scenes here, right, and the animals. So that's the lovers. The hunter, her and the hunter is the chariot card. Okay, and this speaks of focus, determination, divine assistance in this deck, willpower, justice. Look at justice. Is Mat. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The Egyptian goddess of justice, truth, and order, and represents balance, equilibrium. So this is the justice card in this deck. Number 9, the hermit, is the storyteller. Right, and in this deck, the storyteller, it has to do with, wisdom, contemplation, and sort of sharing of knowledge, right, with this storytelling. The wheel is the Wheel of Fortune, and that one's pretty traditional. And it speaks also of consequences, which is one of the meanings of the Wheel of Fortune, right? Being taking responsibility for our actions as well, and things changing, and how each decision brings about an action as a consequence. We have for the Strength card, which I find quite interesting. We have Papa Legba. This is number 11, the Strength. So usually the Strength card, there's a lion on there, or and this, he ties in with Papa Legba, ties in with many of the the African diaspora religions. So he speaks of inner strength, and he's also sort of a messenger, and he also stands between this world and the spiritual realm, right? So he's sort of this messenger between both realms. Let me move these up. Number 12 is the Hangman, very non-traditional here. We have the Celtic Owl is the Hangman. And this card in this deck speaks of rebirth, new ways of thinking. The Death card is Ariadne and has to do with transformation. So Ariadne, who's a Celtic goddess of the gates of time, speaks of, transformation. And usually the Death card, it does speak of a major transformation, moving out of one thing ending, and something new beginning. But, a different representation of the Death card, not at all scary looking, right? Really more focused on this, the renewal, regeneration, rebirth. This is beautiful. The Temperance card, again, not a typical looking temperance card. It's called the Golden Flower. And I don't think that my camera probably doesn't do the cards justice, because they really are very vibrant, very gorgeous. It's just, the artwork is just amazing on these. So the Temperance card, Golden Flower, speaks of harmony, meditation. We also have, look at the Devil card in this deck, number 15, Bella Rosa, right? So mystical Bella Rosa, and it looks as if sort of representing the carnival in Venice, and behind a mask, right? Wearing this mask, and it has to do in this deck with detachment and false persona. The Tower. So this is Kali, right? So the Kali has to do with creative destruction, which is, sort of how I always view the Tower. I don't, I tend to view it as, yes, it's usually something, very unexpected, shakes our world up, but it's, it's sort of a necessary event, and it's more about how we, face that and adapt to the new, whatever this new situation is. So it has to do with, creative destruction. and what you can rebuild after that. The star card, number 17, is LP. Let me hold that up, sorry. And LP speaks of hope, of choices. The Moon card, pretty traditional, but very beautiful, right? It's about reflection, creative reflection. I love the Sun. I absolutely love mandalas, which is why in most of my readings I use for the image, right, for like the little picture for each reading. I use mandalas a lot. I like natural mandalas, mandalas that can be found in nature, flowers, patterns, and I love them. So the Sun is just gorgeous. Look at the Sun. And the Sun in this deck speaks of empowerment. 20 is the Judgment card, and I love it. It's the Phoenix, which has to do with resolution, right? And I love that, because for me that is, judgment again, the sort of major decision, major ending, and renewal. But it's all about, how we can really rise from the ashes and how we are reborn after some, major decision or event or something like that. And then, gorgeous, look at this World card. Card number 21, Psyche. Okay, and it shows Psyche dancing on the world stage, speaks of ascension, again, renewal, growth. Look at, she looks like a beautiful butterfly. Look at her wings. So absolutely gorgeous. I won't go through, obviously. There are four suits here, but let me just show you a few images from the from the suit of stones. For example, the king, right? The king of stones is the minstrel. The queen of stones is the artiste. Knight of stones is the illusionist. Page of stones is the acrobat. And then all of the pip cards, I love that. The 10 of stones, look, she has all these beautiful crystals there. But, they have the stones. This looks kind of like Stonehenge, right? We have all the beautiful stones on each of those cards. For the suit of spirals, we have the King of Spirals is the companion. The Muse is the Queen of Spirals. The Corsair, the Knight of Spirals, hope I said that right. The Mime, the Page of Spirals. And then obviously on each of these we have, the different representations of spirals in some way, right, on each of the cards. So the suit of scrolls we have as the King, the Poet, the King of Scrolls. The Queen of Scrolls is the Weaver. The Knight of Scrolls, the Visionary. The Page of Scrolls, the Pilgrim. And then, there are scrolls in one form or another on each of the pip cards. Okay, and lastly, the suit of mirrors. The King of Mirrors, the Sojourner. The Watcher, the Queen of Mirrors. Interesting. The Dreamer, the Knight of Mirrors. So the Knight of Cups is the Dreamer. And the Healer, the Page of Mirrors. And then, mirrors in one form or another on each of the cards, or, mirrors sometimes, sort of looking like water, or, water kind of flowing out of the mirrors. So we have, mirror references on each of those cards. But it is an absolutely gorgeous deck. One of my new favorites. I have actually acquired a couple of new decks over the past few months, so I might do reviews on those as well, just so you can sort of see, the full deck. I think it helps. I enjoy viewing other people, showing decks, so that, maybe it's a deck I've thought of getting for a while, and I enjoy viewing the cards ahead of time. So I hope that this has helped some of you who might be interested in getting this deck. Again, it's the CRYSALIS Tarot. Very beautiful. Look for it in my daily readings for this upcoming week. So thanks again for taking the time to watch the video. I look forward to reading for you in the upcoming week's videos, and just know that I'm sending you all much peace, love, and light for a wonderful rest of the day. Bye for now.